Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Kettle Kitchen and our chit chat session. This is number 2 of the installment. We had to take a week break because of scheduling issues. But I do want to tell everybody hi. Thank you for stopping by. Greatly appreciated as always. Danny Days Homestead, hello. And Great Farmer Freelance Shane, hello. Glad you guys are here. And I see 9 Acre Family Farms is in the house. So welcome. What we're going to do today is, so we're continuing what we had started, which is planting and gardening kind of discussion. And the channels that are here with us, they were here when we had this conversation before. We're going to go ahead and change gears a little bit. The first time around, it was how do you plant, how do you garden? If you're a farm, the extent and size of the land you use and things like that. Well, today I want to have the conversation primarily about herbs. And so we'll go ahead and get started so we're not wasting any time. And I'm just going to bring them up. Is everybody ready? Thumbs up. All right. So we have Dale from 9 Acre Family Farms. We have LeAnne, Mennonite Farm House.
Hi.
Kris from KrisandLarry Homestead.
Oh, he's trying to do the princess wave.
From Becoming a Farm Girl. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
So first and foremost, if and when, other than I know Kris is one of my mods, and she's modding, I can tell it looks like.
At the same time, I've got computer screen, I've got cell phone, I've got...
If she's a mod, what am I?
Well, you're not in there chatting, are you?
Yes, I am.
Well,
see,
Kris and I
are sisters from a different mister.
Oh, okay. I won't. I'm not even going to go into that conversation because I will confuse myself. You are a mod, and I apologize. When you look at StreamYard, you don't see the blue, and so it threw me off. So, thank you to all my mods. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate you guys as guests. I thank you for coming because I know everybody's got stuff going on. So I do greatly appreciate it. And there's our card diva. I love that.
It's awesome.
Cassandra's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I just work.
So, okay, so this conversation, and I know you guys heard it as I started, I want to kind of concentrate this conversation, not solely, but at least primarily around herb growing, because I know, is that okay, Cassandra?
Yeah, I'm so new to live stream. I see someone just said hello, and I don't know how to say hi. This is my second live ever in life.
So are you on?
You got your phone?
Your computer. Go to your phone and you can type in the chat.
Oh, perfect, wonderful. I will say hello.
And Cassandra, I opened 2 screens. So
that's how y'all do it. I was
Open another tab.
And then there's the second tab of the chat. So there you go. You got my lesson upside down because the camera didn't want to come off of the computer.
Thank you. That was a confused look. Thank you.
I thought you were doing the Cassandra move when she kisses the camera in her videos.
Yeah,
that's what I thought she was doing.
Tony, you've lost all control.
Did you guys? Oh no, I have control. I'm letting you guys go so you can get it out of you. That's fine. But I loved what Dale put up. Did you guys see Dale's card?
Oh, Dale, what did your card say?
Please make me brownies.
Oh,
I love it.
I didn't want to be left out. I mean, LeAnne of many layers has cards. And I'm not a mod, so like.
Well, I'm going to make you one.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Ask and you shall receive.
All right. So what? Here's what I'm going to do. I got about 10 questions I want to throw out there, see what your guys' answers are, and then we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes from there, okay? So my first question is, when should perennial herbs be divided that have been growing in a garden. And we'll start with, I'll start with Kris, and we'll come back the other way.
I'm a naughty garden mom.
She doesn't divide them.
I don't divide mine because a lot
Hold
of our
on, guys. Go ahead, continue.
Oh, look at that. He left me with the garden.
Hey, gone.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't divide mine. And the reason is because all of my herbs are planted in pots. So I prune as I'm going through the season. Most of the time I clip everything out that I'm going to dehydrate or freeze dry right at the end because we do get snow. So I don't do a lot of things, and I don't move them into my greenhouse. I basically reseed every season if they decide not to come back and play with us again. So that's me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good answer. Same here. Like I'm a grower in containers, and so it's not something that I've scaled up to yet. So I hear you, Kris. Yep.
I don't even know what perennials you would divide, because my tractor tire is all oregano right now with an occasional garlic chive because I can't get it pulled out. So it left me with parsley in the garden because that's an annual anyhow. And my one little tiny basil plant, I don't think it's going to make it.
Did your basil plant didn't do this season either? Mine are like,
Yeah.
Seriously?
I had technical difficulties. Any other year I would have 10. It's
Dale's
just not the year for basil.
Look at Dale smiling. He has 10.
Yeah, my basil's doing pretty good, actually.
I'm in the same boat. I have our few herbs that we have currently, because we started all over, from our old place when we moved here, are just in fertilize or mineral lick tubs and various buckets and pots. So we really have a problem yet,
And
we haven't done it. So,
go ahead. Sorry.
It's fine.
I was just going to say I don't have much experience because this is the first year I'm doing the garden actually full on. And I only have two rosemary plants, and they're, not that big. They haven't really gotten very far. So.
How about links?
How about what?
The other channels that are in the chat. Do you want their channel links dropped?
Yeah, that's fine. If you don't mind doing it. I don't like it when you guys have to mod and be on the show because it gets
there's
confusing.
one other mod in the chat, and that's why I was asking.
Okay. Well, if there is another mod in the chat that would not mind doing it, that would be wonderful.
I'm just watching the lightning storm come in. So if I go and I disappear, there's a reason. And it's not because I don't love all of you on here. It's because I'm watching this storm come in, and my livestock guardian dog is pacing right now. So I know it's on its way.
Okay.
So just FYI.
All right.
Well, to add to the perennial chat.
Hoorah for the rain, though.
Yes.
Yes. Sage.
Well,
you got to keep it trimmed.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very abrasive.
Now,
ask me how I know.
Boots and Bounty posted an amazing video about rosemary and splitting rosemary, and being able to replant and make many rosemaries off of one rosemary and how it grows huge. So be sure and check out their video, and I will grab it really quick, even though I'm modding, but I'll put that in because that will answer a question for everyone when it comes to those. But sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you, LeAnne. I was like,
no, you're fine.
I was totally like, oh my God, if I don't say it now, I'm going to lose it. So,
but I want to ask you a question about that, because rosemary in my zone, I believe, is a annual. Like, it won't winter over. I'm assuming. Cassandra, can you verify that?
It depends on how cold the temperatures get. Like, my rosemary did come back this year.
But you're in a town and I'm in a holla.
Yeah, that's true.
So I keep mine in a pot. So in the summer, it gets outdoors, it gets the sunlight, it gets all that vitamin D from the sun. Then I bring it in and hope the cats don't attack it. No offense.
So that actually kind of, there's two other questions that go into this kind of category. One is, when should you pinch herbs? and I'm assuming it's for thinning processing is what the question is really around. And then the other one was when or how do you go about pruning your herb plants? That was the other one I wanted to make sure we hit on in case people have questions about that. We'll go ahead and start with Dale if you have any information on that.
Well, for me, the pruning kind of comes as we want to harvest, of course.
Okay.
And the few that we have experimented so far, we don't really give it a chance until it gets later in the summer for it to start getting too big. So we're harvesting as much as we can and using. So I'm going to say I need to go with more experience than myself. I'd rather be honest than blow someone a bunch of hot air, but that's been our experience so far.
Full hot air.
Yeah. I mean,
so LeAnne, what about you?
Don't wait till it blooms.
Yeah.
Be done.
Or bolts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because ask me how I know. Because it will be better.
Yeah.
So you want to just keep on going and don't cut more than 2/3 of your herbs, like sage or basil or oregano, because then it might stun it. There's the video.
Yep, there's the video that Kris was talking about rosemary, and that's on Boots and Bounty Homestead. If you care to take a look at it, I'm sure it'll help. So, in the question or the conversation, let me let the rest of you answer, and then maybe you'll answer it. So we'll come back to it. Kris, what about you?
I pinch as I'm seeing flowers. I actually do that right at the end because of our heat index here. We flower very quickly because our growing season is so short and then so hot. So I'm out every single day pinching flowers on everything, literally. So it's fast, but I harvest as I'm using throughout the summer. So anytime I have everything outside my kitchen door. And as I'm using it in my kitchen, I go out and I clip what I want. And then at the end of season is when I clip everything down and start drying for later.
Okay. So real quick question on the drying part of it. Do you, just for clarification, can you air dry those herbs or do they have to be dehydrated or dried?
I do all three.
Okay.
That's right.
I freeze dry. There's a fourth one that I do too, but I freeze dry, I dehydrate, I air dry and hang them. I've got a windowsill that's got a bar on it, and I just hang everything. And then I also drop in oils and freeze. So I do it all because I use them all in the winter time, and then I don't have to buy anything. My whole point is my garden is so I don't have to go to the grocery store. I hate the grocery store. I hate people at the grocery store. People hate going to the
Thank you for that clarification. I hate
to say. I almost cried. Kris just said she hates me.
No, I hate going to the grocery store because everybody has to go there. And everybody is angry who is at a grocery store because they're spending money that they don't want to have to spend. And they're arguing with people about prices and rearranging of groceries. I just assume grow everything myself. And I never have to walk into a grocery store again and deal with angry people. Does that make sense?
Yes. Cassandra, what about you?
Yeah, Kris, you touched on a lot of good points, and that's something that even on a small scale, so I have one entire green stalk that's entirely dedicated to herbs, and because they're always growing and prolific, one of the things that I do is that I have I think it's like a 50% black shade cloth that I'm using now that the temperatures have reached above 90, and so really from early spring to like early winter, I can have herbs for almost 8 months out of the year. And so I'm continuously kind of like harvesting. Another thing, LeAnne, you touched on was, before it goes to like bolt, I'm using it. But then what I'm able also to do is use all those different mediums. So I have some calendula oil right now that I've steeped in some olive oil that I'm going to use later on to make a salve. I have, my basil that's in the ice cube trays. I've also made basil salts that you can use to preserve your herbs, drying them in my dehydrator. But also sometimes what I'll do is, I will just go ahead, take some clothespins, hang them up. They're hanging off the chandeliers downstairs, above the living room. And then maybe I'll finish kind of drying them to use Boom, there you go. Exactly. That's all you need, because I don't want my dehydrators running all of the time just for like herbs. I don't need them because I'm enjoying my teas, fresh as, I want them, but then like later on adding to the stockpile. So herbs are just amazing to grow. And really, if you're using a combination between your shade cloths and different preservation techniques, oh my goodness, you can be enjoying your garden for the majority of the year.
I just
My canner. I gotta go check my canner. I'll be right back. All right.
That was awesome.
That's what you call effective and efficient, right there.
Yeah. But that whole statement that she just said, you know what I heard? Cassandra has herbs for days. I'm pretty sure that's what she was saying.
Well, and everywhere in her house, like the rest of us. Hanging in everywhere, dehydrators, and
I'm going to be honest. On the 9 acres, you know what we don't have? We don't have a dehydrator yet.
Oh,
I don't either.
You just got.
What did I miss? Oh my goodness! Where did the live go?
We don't own one.
Killed me.
No. We have done the whole hang herbs from like different shelving, stuff like that. We've tried like bread rack out on the porch to dry them. And yes, that is on the plans, is to get a dehydrator. In fact, that discussion was this week with Nana 9 Acres. But we don't know yet.
Excalibur will have a sale for the 4th of July, 20% off.
Oh,
that's the one you want.
And I have it in my Amazon store.
Yeah, shameless plug, maybe.
Yeah, just a shameless plug. But anyhow.
Oh my goodness, look at this. We've got triggering going on in the chat. We've got Bearded Eagles totally triggered by the no dehydrator.
Renee, you need a dehydrator.
Pike Creek. Oh my gosh, Pike Creek doesn't have one either. We need to start a GoFundMe for everyone. I am telling you.
A GoFundMe account for dehydrators. I love that. That's funny.
So here's another reason why you want a dehydrator. I don't have herb curtains like everybody else. And this is why. I live in a farmhouse.
Right.
I got dust and I got cats.
Yeah.
Do you think I want to be consuming that in my herbs? No.
Why not? Everybody else does.
True story.
I'm so glad my husband's not here right now. But anyway, that is why I got humidity. In Pennsylvania, I'm sticky 3/4 of the year. Like today.
Thank you. I needed to know that. Anyways,
but that's my point. You need a dehydrator in my neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
First and foremost, before we continue, I want to say thank you to Steven, Mr. Boots and Bounty. He's dropping links like a wild man, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And there are quite a few people in here, and so I want to take a chance and tell them thank you for showing up. Bearded Eagle, we talked about. Great Farmer Freelance, Shane, Teresa's in, Little Ridge Farms, Mr. Bounty.
Where's
Dr. Pepper?
Where's mine?
Oh, you're lucky.
Moly.
Right, it's a huge one.
Devil Dog's in the house. Hedrickson Family Farm. Oh, there's the slacker. He finally showed up. The official Ann Wynn show is in the house. Triple Threat Firearms and Defense. Tarsha, hello. Thank you for showing up. Becoming a Farm Girl showed up. That's interesting.
Wow. I might know her.
Who's that lady?
Yeah. Let's see. G Mama Grows. She's great. I love her. She's awesome. Mud and Mascara Homestead. Hello. Trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. I'm not a person that typically runs and rolls through the comments because I want the content to continue, but people did take their time out. So I want to say thank you. Renee, Pike Creek Farm. Hello.
Renee at Pike Creek Farms needs a dehydrator.
I'm
just in tears from you guys.
Facebook Marketplace.
Is it that, or is it that 5-gallon Dr. Pepper you just got?
It might be that
No,
too.
no. When she has to go to the restroom, she'll be having that much tears coming out.
Right? No, I'll be good. This is gonna last.
Heather
for the rest
Lynn,
of
Garden
the
Table with Heather Lynn, you're in. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. So the other thing that I was going to ask about I'm trying to make it simple, and I'm trying to get people to understand that they can grow the herbs, and it's most of them, from my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, they're a continuous thing. You can technically, in most locations, you can do herbs year round. You might have to move them inside.
Yes.
But theoretically, you could actually grow those year round. Does anybody disagree with that?
Well, I was gonna say, I'm gonna steal LeAnne's statement. Ask me how I know that you have to move them inside in my territory.
So let me go this route. Dale, how would you know that?
Well, because pretty much the next spring, you just have a pot full of dirt.
Right.
That's what we found out. We thought, oh, it'll be coming. It's coming. No.
Killed it off.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go buy more. We did that, but yeah, it was that polar vortex that the Midwest got. Yeah, something about when we got down to like minus 15 actual, and then wind chill below that. They didn't make it in containers at all.
Yeah.
Oh, Cassandra, would you agree with that you should be able to do it year round?
Yeah, so I recently this is the first summer that I'm growing exclusively in like a vertical green stock. But before then, yes, I would absolutely bring my containers inside, and I did a lot of transplanting this year for that very reason. But I also advocate to or if you're a beginner gardener, to start off with herbs, because it's the most bang for your buck. So if you're really scared about starting things like from seed, yes, take that initial investment, go to a farmer's market, get those seedlings, because they're going to come back year after year after year if you do kind of just monitor your weather. I mean, oh my goodness, there are herbs now that I have that are 3 or 4 years old, and that's amazing, right? Like one done with propagation, which I've been mediocre at, but I know it's possible. You can really expand a garden fast. So yeah, definitely bring them indoors if it's going to get Arctic where you are. But if not, you can just go ahead and use like the frost covers, which is something that I'm using. I'm not using the ones by the brand by Greenstock because they're kind of expensive for like what it is. Just throw a sheet on there. But yeah, absolutely. That's how I'm extending my growing season. So good advice, Dale.
Right. I'll go to Kris next because LeAnne looks like she's looking something up.
She is. Look at her. She's intent and learning. Now I'm all
do you agree with that statement as well?
I do. I don't bring mine in because I have 5 house cats. And they like to eat all the herbs in the household. So herbs stay outside of my house. But yes, you absolutely can bring them in. And just think of this as a beginner, the way Cassandra was saying, as a beginner gardener, if you were to get into this, you're looking at, you can season all of your meat. You can season all of your vegetables. Salad dressing oils. You can make dry mixes like ranch dressing. You can do teas. You can do so many different things with herbs, and it can be used for every single meal from this day until you're out.
Yeah.
What do you have?
What do you have?
The ball
LeAnne?
book. I don't leave home without it, or the kitchen. But anyhow, in this book, it tells you how to dehydrate step by step.
Oh,
There you go. Good information. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And then the other thing to think about too is you can mix it with other things like lemon zest, and you can mix in basil and lemon zest, and it has this amazing flavoring, and salting it as well. So I mean, it's endless possibilities, and that's what you have to think of. And it's not just your basic oregano and parsley and basil and those. You can, go all out, when it comes to it. I grow chamomile so that I have tea for the wintertime when I know that I have to settle myself down. And that's all in my herb garden too. We've got echinacea. We even have, elderberries in my herb garden because that's part of my herb garden section of my kitchen. So just look at those kind of things as well. Like I said, dehydrator if you don't have one, please get one. That way I don't have any more trigger anxiety from everybody, because all
Just
of
so
my
everybody,
adult children, I will tell you, all of my adult children I have bought a dehydrator for as well. When they moved out into their own home, that is the one thing that I always made sure they had, was something that they could dehydrate with.
Yeah,
that's
because
good.
you could do beef jerky in a dehydrator as well. We're not talking just the herbs, we're talking other
Well,
things
and you
too.
can do banana chips and apple chips and all kinds of different fruits and vegetable chips and leathers. And I know LeAnne uses her for powders. You know, I mean, there's tons of different things you can do. I'm with Dale. We just haven't got there yet. So,
wait, you don't have a dehydrator either?
I figured that out. That's why it was quiet.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't saying anything.
Drink some more
Okay,
Dr. Pepper.
It's okay. I know. I can see the anxiety. This is I would say.
I wish I could put an emoji of a Kleenex box so I could hand it to you, Kris. I just wanted, if you didn't notice, we have a mouse in the house. So,
hey,
Mouse
Toast. Yeah, no, you guys, if anything in your household, if there's any appliance in your household, you know, like I don't use a microwave. I use a dehydrator. I use a toaster oven, and you can dehydrate in a toaster oven on low, just FYI.
And an air fryer.
Yep, your air fryer, your regular oven, you can turn it on low and put your trays in. It takes a lot longer, and you have to babysit it all day long, but it is doable. So just know that it's not, you're not stuck to just that dehydrator. But if you are going to go get one from LeAnne's link, because the Excalibur is the dehydrator to get.
I think we're on the selfless.
I'm gonna trigger again.
No,
we don't own an air fryer.
I don't either. And in my one video, I was like, you know what? The most important thing in your like kitchen besides your canner is your dehydrator. It's not your air fryer. But then I realized, like, my parents have one where, like, you can actually dehydrate in your air fryer. And I was like, I know, it's upsetting news. I know. But, I would also say this, y'all. Yes, the Excalibur, I have heard all about these dehydrators. But if you're someone who, like, I remember, y'all, when I was like tiptoeing into dehydrating, I got I think it's Nesco. Yeah, Nesco for $10 at a yard sale. And I dehydrated in that thing for 3 years. Meat, jerky. I don't even have the fancy like airlock seal. I am using it's like this air pump and the vacuum seal lid. Just get whatever you can. And then I just got, it's not an Excalibur. Okay, I'm still saving up for that. I have a Kasori just because of like volume, and I see that it's worth it. So just ease your way into the best dehydrator is one that you can afford and the one that fits your space, right? Like that's it first. And of course there are other mechanics in terms of like airflow and all those kinds of things for sure. Absolutely. Excalibur, I'm working my way up to that, LeAnne, using your link. But until then, like definitely just start off getting what you can afford and dehydrate, because it comes in handy so much. You don't waste a thing. Like that is the premise behind why you need to dehydrate, right? Like with all the abundance that you're getting, none of it goes to waste ever. And so that's why it's just the utility. It can't be beat. And the ease. Oh my goodness. Canning, there are a few instructions, you know, you got to know. But with dehydrating, throw it on that rack, get the temperature right. You're not going to go wrong. So, oh my goodness. Yeah.
See, Dale, you triggered her too.
I know.
But if you look at what Mouse Toast said, and I think it's a valid point, go look at Facebook Marketplace. She found an Excalibur for $50. That you're not going to find him that cheap. So
I bought my daughter's used Excalibur at a yard sale for $25.
Well, there you go.
The people had no idea what it was. It was an estate sale. It was a box they threw out in, you know, had no idea what it did. And I looked at it and I looked at my daughter and she's like, oh my God, Mom, go get that right now. Like, she's like, I don't care if you don't have cash on you, dig change out from under the car seat if you have to. because that was one of those things. So yeah, absolutely. Because it does, like I said, now I have my dehydrator, but I have my freeze dryer as well. And I freeze dry a lot of my herbs and teas and that is spot on amazing as well. We actually put them in the little mesh bags, pre-do it before we put it in the freeze dryer, and it's all measured out and it's done. And then we put them in Mylar bags when they come out, and I have tea bags pre-made. So, and I use a lot of mints and a lot of, those kind of flavorings for teas at home. And so you can do all of that stuff. And just know, don't plant mint in the ground unless you want a forest of mint.
Yep. Wild Nature Farms, she made let me come back up to it because I want you to see it. And I think it really kind of ties into this next one. She's saying up where she lives in Alberta, Canada, her chamomile reseeds itself every year. But when you look at this comment, it really hits home because it's going to be a much better product than you get when you go into the store. We've talked about it many, many times. Most of the seeds and herbs and things like that we're getting have been sitting in storage for 6 to 12 months to 18 months, sitting out on the water, floating around, waiting to get into a port, whatever it may be. LeAnne?
Then they tell you can only use it for 6 months and it's going to go bad because of the, the aroma.
Yeah. So LeAnne, I didn't give you a chance. What is your take on the year-round herb growing?
Like, I would have to just bring it inside.
Okay.
For more or less, because it gets down to 0 now around here. So
Okay. So the next question, and I'm going to go with Cassandra, go to Kris, and then we'll come up to Dale and then LeAnne. Okay.
Hi, Monty.
What do you think is, no, let me rephrase it. Can you grow multiple herbs in the same pot?
Yeah, that's the only way I grow. Are you kidding me? I'm growing on a deck. All those rules are out the window. Pack it in there, thin it out later on. Oh yeah, I have beans and squash, and literally in a green salad. I wish that my laptop would work because I intended to be downstairs to show everybody. But yeah, absolutely. The worst thing that is going to happen. And you got to think about why they wrote those instructions on seed packets, right? It's if you're growing in the ground and you're actually walking through your garden and things are coming to full maturity. That ain't me. That's not me, right? As a city gardener. So if I'm doing a combination of hybrids and things that are ripe but don't need to get to full size, I can enjoy my garden that much more and keep kind of doing continuous planting. So I always have these pockets filled. So yeah, absolutely. And there's a thing, I think it's called the 3 Sisters method, where even depending on the height of what you're growing, right? Oh my goodness, I got the curly kale, which I'm so excited about. Thank you again, Dale, so much. You're going to see it in a video. And I will give you the shout out for sure. Transplanted it in the garden today. So I can do a combination of tomatoes, which are going crazy. Then have my chard that's still there. And then the beans that are going to just droop and fall over. Heck yeah. If you're not, you're giving up valuable real estate, especially for those of us that are growing in small spaces. So do it. Do it for sure.
Okay, Kris, what is your take on that?
I 100% agree with Cassandra with everything that she said. However, at my house, I have a pot for each thing, and I have multiple plants of the same species in each pot. So I have 3 basil plants. I have a purple basil and 2 of the regular in one big, they're feed troughs. They're mini feed troughs, the little metal buckets. And so I have that stacked and layered, as well as other metal milking buckets and things like that I use, where I've got mint and lemon balm and all those kind of things. But I have multiple plants, but not multiple species. And it's just because I have so many that it's okay, but you absolutely can combine everything down and squish things in and make it work for you.
And Dale, what about you?
So we have done the one thing to one pot traditionally. That's what we started off with. But we just revamped our series that we started with our kitchen garden with the small raised beds and everything. So this spring or midsummer when we finally got a plant, we started intermixing herbs in with our other crops. For one, we're trying to get some parasitic, so like bugs and things are deterred from that kind of plant. So we're trying that. We don't know if we're having a success or a failure yet because we're still in the middle of it, but and our herbs are pretty small compared to our crops. So we don't know if we did it right or not. So like I say, when it comes to herbs, that's one strength that we need to improve on here. So I am very interested in learning from the other three on this panel what they have to say.
Just to throw it out, that's kind of why I wanted to do this when I first started thinking about this, because I know that you got the bigger garden like LeAnne does. LeAnne's got the huge farm mode of it. You got the big garden and the 9-acre farm you have. And then you get on to Kris. I mean, you go down the list and we're at different sizes, but I know by what you just said, I'm in the same boat you are, Dale. I'm going to learn something from this. Regardless of what size you are, there's things for all of us to share with each other. And I can't explain that more than just what you said. I would have thought you guys have had this herb thing down, and the reality is you don't, so no. I get it. And that's why
we've been more focused on, we got to grow potatoes, we got to grow beans, we got to grow, and that's all we've ever worried about before. And now we're trying to intermix everything. And we're also finding out, like you're saying, yes, we love our great big garden, but between two jobs and everything else, it's just so hard for us to maintain. By the time I get home and everything else, it's so hard to maintain. It
doesn't have to be IG ready. It just has to work for you.
I know. I agree.
That's a valid point too. Really, it is. It is.
Because mine's not ready for YouTube right now. I'm telling you.
So, what's funny to me in that statement, not to cut you off, Tony, but like my potatoes are like in the big garden. They like hit me over the top of my waist with the greens. They're all they're ready to harvest. Yeah. And so I'm like, I got to get this all cleaned up so I can, video it and everything. So I take my tiller to go down between to take out the weeds and the grass. And all of a sudden here comes potatoes. And I'm like, that's not happening. I'm going to have to just film like after I dig it up and I'm picking the potatoes up out of the ground. But to prove that point, what we're thinking is a bad thing actually is probably, that's how it happens in nature. If you look at unmolested crops or unmolested, plants that is not man affected, it grows right next to the next one. So that grass that's over the top, it's protecting that potato that's under the ground. If you think about it in that light, maybe I was trying to do something I shouldn't have been doing, is what I'm saying,
Yeah. Oh, we have Australia in the house. Annie's Kitchen and Urban Homestead. I know it's not morning for all of us, but it is for her. And I think it's tomorrow, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But
no,
thank you for coming.
Friday for her.
So I wish it was Friday for me.
So don't let me forget. I want to show a picture, but I want to give LeAnne a chance to answer that question as well.
So most of my herbs grow in a big tractor tire.
That's awesome.
I want a picture.
Well, funny you should say that. I have a YouTube video on it. It's called I've been trying to grow all my herbs in it, but now my oregano is just taken over.
Yeah.
But I still have time in it. And then I just decided to take my parsley to the garden since it's an annual. My mom does winter over parsley inside. So, yeah, I've just cut back on my herbs just because I grow so many of it and I can't give it away because everybody's snooty around here. They're too loud. But, I grow so much that I can't dehydrate more than a year's worth. So what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
All right. So LeAnne, what's the name of the video that I'm looking for so that I can post a link for you?
It's Memorial Day garden update. I don't remember.
Okay.
Let me look up.
Don't ask her confusing things, Kris. Come on.
Garden tour Memorial Day?
Yes, that's it.
I'll post that link for you.
Thanks. You're such a great moderator. I'm the one slacking.
So here's a picture I want to show you guys, because I think before I show it, so you understand, I'm actually considering doing this because I think it's minimal space. You don't have to go out and spend. I know that Cassandra and I think others do use the stackable ones.
Grain stock.
Green stock.
Right?
Yeah.
This is another way I found that might help people. And there you go.
You can help a YouTuber out because Cassandra has a code for that.
Oh, wow.
What? I don't see nothing wrong with that.
That's really cool. Wow.
And then there's the completed version of it.
So Tony, have you been talking to Nana 9 Acres? Because like she's tagged me in that post like 4 or 5 times in the last 2 weeks.
Hey Dale, that's a hint.
Yeah, I know.
But
That's
I mean,
not
what
it.
I'm
That's
trying
like
to
should've
say
been done
though, and
yesterday.
the reason I'm showing that specifically is because it doesn't have to look like that, but I mean, you can manipulate your situation to make it work. I would think that Cassandra would love that where she's at because of all that space.
I would totally love that. And here's the thing, like, yes, I grow in a grain stock. Why? Because I don't have the tools to be able to create or time something like that. That is exactly before the grain stocks. And that's early on in my channel. I was growing in 5-gallon buckets. Why did I move away from that? Because they're heavy. It's deck maintenance. I'm power washing the deck and all that stuff. But that is just as effective as a grain stock. I'm going for like maximum productivity and like efficiency. Oh my goodness, Tony, that is amazing. Yes, like go for that. For sure. Yeah. I don't need any more conventional. I might have that next. That is great. Like really? Wow.
All right. It's a challenge. Which one of us is going to get it first?
Cassandra, now you got a collaboration to put together.
I totally do. Yeah.
I need the link for it because Larry's off for the rest of the week.
Ooh.
There you go.
So she's telling you, Cassandra, put it together, post the challenge by Wednesday so she can have it by Saturday.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow, the pressure is on.
What am I gonna do? I gotta work.
I know.
We don't need to sleep.
Wild Nature Farm actually mentioned a book, and I threw the link in here. We were talking about the companion planting and that, and there's this awesome book, and I actually have it on my shelf called Carrots Love Tomatoes. And I'll post the link a second time just so that it's in the chat because I posted it and didn't mention it. But this book is awesome because it helps you identify which plants you can squish together for container planting especially. But we even used it in our garden this weekend for the video I dropped this morning where we talked about how we put the leeks next to the tomatoes and how we put the radishes next to the bell peppers because they counter the nitrogen and other things in your soil. So when you're planting and squishing things together, you want to make sure that you're not having all calcium suckers or all nitrogen suckers in one pot. So this book is
on that. Hold on just a second, Kris, because I don't want to lose that thought process. And I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're good.
Is there a place that somebody or a way for somebody to look at? Okay, I got 12 different herbs. How do I know which ones are calcium suckers or nitrogen suckers or something of the like?
You know what? I have this book, but I also just go onto Google when I'm standing in my garden.
Okay.
In all honesty, I'll just type in, can tomatoes be planted with blah, blah, blah. And it'll tell me, no, don't plant those with that. It's like, okay, where am I going to plant these now? Right. A lot of it, as you're doing your gardens and as you're learning over the years, you'll remember which plants can go next to each other. But there's still times like I know you and I have talked on the phone, Tony, quite a few times where you've called and said, hey, can I do this? And I'm like, yes, hang on. Yes.
Okay.
I just double check my mind to make sure that
So
I'm
I'm
on
calling
the
Kris to say,
Soil
can
talk.
you? And she's saying, let me talk to my expert.
Yeah,
Let me-
my expert in my book or in Google. No, there's a lot of times it's just something that you do learn. Like I know where my garlic has to be in my garden against other plants because you learn that as you're going. I've had this particular garden, we're on year 13. So for us, and I rotate everything. So every year all my plants get shifted, 90 degrees.
So rotation is important in your continuing process. You need to move those things.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's only because, like I said, there's certain plants that steal the calcium and certain plants that steal the nitrogen. And there's a whole list of things that you have to watch. Now, every single year when I plant my herbs, I start with new soil. I do not reuse that soil. Those actually go into my garden bed. Anything that I'm dumping and replanting goes into my garden beds, and it gets mixed with goat fertilizer, and it gets mixed with lime, and it gets mixed with Epsom salts, and I do this whole huge process. Alfalfa or straw that's coming out of barns. We compost everything at our house.
Which is what you're talking about when you take the old dirt and you put it into the garden bed and you're putting all that stuff in. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's soil amendment, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure, and so people know if they don't what those things are. So.
I'm more layman's. I'm more dumb terms. I'm just replacing my soil because I know that it's not going to work for those plants this year because it's already had all the nutrients sucked out of it. Whether it was a potting soil that you purchased in a bag or dirt that you dug out that you've mixed manure or whatever else into, you do have to recycle that every year and add new nutrients into it. So like I said, I start fresh with my herb gardens every single year. Only because I know when they're in pots, they don't have that opportunity to get other nutrients coming in. So you have to take that into consideration. If you've got a big, huge garden, you throw out your different fertilizers. I know LeAnne probably has just bags that go behind the tractor when she's doing stuff. No,
it's called the manure spreader. Just comes in, backs up, and spreads it. That's all we do.
See, but you still add back in. You still add things back in to make sure those plants have all the nutrients. Yeah. So just make sure that you're not like Cassandra when you're doing your stuff. Make sure that you're supplementing all of your plants every season. And I know I'm talking. I don't mean to talk to you like you don't do this because I know that you do. But in general, people don't always understand, especially new gardeners. And we're telling them plant herbs, do this. They'll come back every year. Well, you know what? All my old plants that are coming back, we pull them out of the pots and we pull any loose soil out and put fresh stuff around them as well because they need to have those nutrients in there.
For sure. Absolutely.
So I know Kris, to continue on with that, like us, for instance, in the big garden, traditionally what we would do, and I didn't think this was like something, mind blowing, but we feed out butcher pigs, our freezer pigs. So we would actually set up pen in the garden, throw hay in with the pigs that they like to play in. They like to root in. They do their thing in. And then we go back in there in the spring. We work that up, so that to help amend our soil and everything. And then we used to show lots of pigs all over the place. My son did, like you can see in this picture behind me here. Sorry, it's backwards. But anyway, so all those were on wood chips in individual pins. So we would take those wood chips and we built out of pallets, a compost bin that we put all that in along with everything out of the kitchen and let that break down. And then we started feeding all of our little gardens with it, our raised beds and everything. And I know you can do it on a lot larger scale because that's where I come from, and that also goes in with what Tony was asking and what you're talking about where you move around in your gardens and move everything, large ag, as LeAnne can back me up on this. you know, we plant soybeans on this 80 acres this year. Next year, that's going to be corn, you know, and then the next year that's going to be wheat. We're not the same crop over and over and over again because you're going to deplete that soil of all those proper amendments, you know, nitrogen. So, of course, the legume will fix nitrogen, and then we plant corn in there because that's the nitrogen, that's what it thrives off of, you know. So the herb side of it, we, by learning those different herbs on what they need, you can move those herbs around in your garden, transplant and replace them with a different herb that can get something good from the soil that one left, you know.
At the grocery store, people hate going to.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
I thought it was me.
No, I'm trying to do something real quick. Just since I stopped the conversation, sorry. Wild Nature Farms wants to post a link for something that would be helpful. I went ahead and made you a mod for that, and I'll just take it away when you're done posting. If you want to go ahead and post it up there, I would appreciate it. So real quick, because I did notice this, and I want to do it's off subject, so bear with me for a second.
No.
Dale and 9 Acre Family Farm is at 1.3 thousand. Congratulations.
Thank you.
LeAnne exceeded her 7,000, 7.13 thousand. Great job.
Thank you.
Cassandra keeps growing. She's at 12.6 thousand. So that's wonderful.
Ooh, yeah.
And the lady sitting next to her, her channel did make their 10,000. So good for them.
Why do you make it sound like that? They just hit 10,000. Woo! You gotta make that noise.
Huge, yeah, for sure.
You guys, we will be doing our 10,000 giveaway on Friday the 8th.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just posted that. I asked Larry to tell me a date. He said he didn't know, so I just made it up.
All right. That's awesome. I mean, and everybody should go just for sheer support, if nothing else.
Absolutely. And
one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up, because what was that? Sorry.
I said, I guarantee there'll be some seeds in those giveaways, among other things.
All right.
So
one of the reasons I wanted to bring that up is Annette over at Annie's Kitchen and Urban Homestead. I felt so sorry for her. She hit her 1,000, went out and told everybody, woohooed about it, which she should. I'm not taking that away. Absolutely. And then her numbers dropped back off.
But guess what?
I'm here to tell you, they went back up and they're sticking.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Annette. That is awesome. So, but she also brought up a valid thing I would like to jump into, and we'll just kind of have an open thing about it. I'm not going to go down the line. Okay. What things when you plant herbs and you're trying to keep them separate, because I know me and Kris have had this conversation quite a few times. I know me and LeAnne have. What things need to be kept in their own container? Because if you don't, they will take over the whole thing.
That was in the contest.
Obviously, but what else is there?
Lemon balm. Catnip. Oh wait, these are all mint families.
Yeah, mint family.
They all take over. No, I do keep my oregano separately. Only because my oregano here in Arizona gets huge. So I try not to have that too close to anything else. And it's in the biggest of my containers because right now it's already starting to cascade over the side. Like I said, any of the mints, the chocolate mint, the spearmint, any of those, you do not want to plant those in the ground if you do not want them to come up on the other side of your sidewalk next year. I have learned that. So, but yeah, no, if you want ground cover, if you want a hill to have some green in it, mint is perfect. Plant it at the top of the hill, water it, and it'll grow down with the water. It will follow the water. So just know that for mint. But other things, I like to plant my chives or my green onions. If I'm doing that, I like to plant those separately. I do let my chives flower out because I use the flowers for some other things. They're actually a great bee food, just so you know. Chives make these huge flowers for these little itty bitty plants. So they're a good bee food if you're looking for that. And they do it at different times than the wildflowers too, which is awesome. So you're continuing to feed those wild honeybees. But I keep them separate because they actually do start to spread as they get bigger as well. And so I don't want to crowd them. If I plant chives, I want chives, and I want lots of them because I use it in a lot of food.
Well, I think didn't we talk one time? I think it was you. We were talking about some people even take their flower beds, or if they're a smaller one, I'm assuming, and they'll throw their tomatoes, tomatillos, their cilantro, their peppers, all in one flower bed. So it's more or less a salsa flower bed, theoretically.
Yes.
And that would make sense to me.
There's an actual challenge on a YouTube channel called Bake a Leg and It Stick It. Come salsa with me.
Oh, let's find it and let's do a post.
Okay, so Kris will work on that. Anybody else have anything to add on the proliferation of herbs?
I actually had to pull my sage out because it was just on the south side of my tractor tire, and it was just caving in on everything else, and it was like the tree. So I didn't need so much sage in my life. So I actually yanked out my sage because it was like this big tree caving on my parsley.
You did what? It sounds. Have you made sage and apple jelly?
I know.
I heard that somewhere before. I'm letting you know this right now. I am making that in this summer. I am putting that on a rack of ribs or something. I don't know what it is.
The savoriness of that sage, because I was in that same problem. Like, it grows so prolifically, but sage, oh my goodness. And it's a good year. I don't get good sage every year. But knock on wood, year two.
I still have sage from
that comfrey spreads like mint as well.
I would back
and
that
I don't
up.
know anything about it. So
yeah, neither.
Do you guys know what that is?
Not comfrey. I'm not growing that. I know my calendula is just going like everywhere.
Really?
But do you make your own? Do you make your own stuff from the calendula, or do you use it for?
I sure do. Yeah. So I'm making a salve. So right now, I make salves. Yeah, I'm infusing it, and in a couple of weeks, I'll go ahead and add the beeswax and all that. But yeah, it's too easy not to, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it looks like Rock Ridge said that wrong one. Sorry. Garden to Table with Heather Lynn. She participated in that Come Salsa with Me.
It's still going on.
Huh? Still going on?
Yep.
Okay. Well, and then I got to toot my own horn. There you go. Jamming Up June blew my mind.
Yes,
only ever use jam as a jam. I think that's just real quick. I think that's one of the beauties I'm getting out of this. People are realizing you don't just have to use it for jam and jelly, what you're used to.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Did anybody else have any other herbs that really? I heard rosemary, and I think me and Kris talked about this. You got to watch the rosemary because it will take over a bed too as well.
I don't have that problem.
Me either. Yeah. I wish. I love her.
Trim rosemary. It grows back twice as big. So as you're trimming it, just watch which direction you're going and how big you want it. I had a rosemary bush that was like 8 feet wide and like 10 feet long and took over, and it had all these beautiful white flowers that the bees just love, and it foamed and did all of its amazing thing, and I would just go out and sit and pet it because
I don't think I could have enough rosemary.
I know. It sounds like a dream. Keep going, Kris.
It's just that
I'll be honest. One of them that we don't like here at our house is tarragon, and I think it's because it's so overpowering.
I've only known
strong smell.
It's I had tarragon in a pot once. Then the cat got it.
The cat got it.
Well,
I was gonna, being that I'm the trigger guy tonight, I'm gonna trigger.
What else do you have? If you tell me you don't have a stove, I'm going to hurt you myself.
No, what I'm going to say is my lovely bride does not like rosemary. So we don't use much rosemary.
Dun, dun, dun.
Rosemary tastes amazing when you wrap a twig of it in fish or in chicken, and then you bake it, and it just...
or beef or tea or just anything. I hear you. I hear you. All right.
I brown my butter
fell in love with
and
your
garlic.
quail video, Dale. So there's nothing you can say. There's a lot of capital we have right now. So I can kind of overlook that statement. And you just did. Remind me of your series again. I wanted to add this as a comment later on. You're doing like how you, it's something like you don't.
We don't farm like Justin Rhodes.
Yeah, like I would say for everyone, I heard you earlier kind of like backstep things and say, hey, y'all, I'm not into the herbs. But I think I watched at least 2 or 3 videos in that series. And you know what? You are farming and utilizing your land in a way that makes the most sense for you and doing it. And really like, it's the ethos of like everyone here, which is what I love about these channels, right? Like, yes, it's great to be inspired and to know like what the next steps will be. But darn it, there's a lot that you can do in your own space and know intimately your own growing area, because that's when you really get, the abundance that he talks about. Isn't doing it his way, it's learning what works for you. So
and I really
a lot of people really took offense.
Go.
A lot of people really took offense to that at first because they thought I was like really saying something bad. Yeah. When truly, if you're paying attention to it, I'm not saying anything ill about them. Right. What I was saying is, you got to do you, boo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got to use what you got to use, and it's whatever way that you can,
right, in
your own environment.
Yeah,
but what's funny about that is when I put out my first garden tour thing. And mostly everybody was very nice about it. I mean, it's nothing special. I am not claiming it's anything special or any of that.
Tony goes, my garden's not very good. And then he sends me this beautiful, like raised bed.
But you ask LeAnne and ask Kris. For much of the time we've been going through this, you got to remember that picture came out a week after those got put in place. So we had been struggling with the temperatures. I mean, now we're dealing with 20-mile-an-hour winds for 2 days straight. I don't know if any of my stuff's going to grow now because I'm afraid it's starting to break some of it. So I got to try to put some up to protect it. Point being, I had a person on a live that said, your garden's not really that good. And I just blew it off. No big deal. But hold on.
Do you have a garden?
No, but Dale, and really what Cassandra is saying, I don't care whether you like it or not. It's my garden. It fits what I do.
Right.
What I'm doing. I'm in a learning process. And if you don't like it, somebody said it this morning on another live, there's 50 other channels you can go watch if you don't like what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And here's the deal too when it comes to that. This morning I watched a video on Bland's, and they are amazing, and they are a messy gardener. They do not weed, and I love them for that. Because in my garden, if I don't weed, I have weeds growing, and my vegetables are this big and my weeds are this big. Yeah. We all have to be ourselves when it comes to this. Do I want to weed my garden? No, I don't have time for that. No, none of us have time for that.
Nobody got time for that.
If I open my gates, my goats will eat my spinach and not the weeds. I mean, it's just this horrible situation. So you look at the way people garden, and how dare they say something to you? Because to me,
I got to a point where I don't let the comments bug me anymore. No. It's just to make a point, that some people are like that, and it's just the way they are.
And they are. And that's what drives me absolutely crazy, in the sense that, do they know me? Do they know you personally? Do they know all the things that you're accomplishing? If your garden is small or your garden is large, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing. You do you. Just like Dale said, you do exactly you. Because
speaking of Bland's,
what comes in the chat?
I just got up your messy garden. I love.
Wow.
See, they knew. I said their name and they came.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Before we get into that, I want to do this because there's a lot of comments coming out, and I think they're all very valid comments I want to put up real quick.
Well, can I want
go
to
ahead. I just want to let know
statement here for what they're saying about Tony's garden. They don't know he's disabled.
Exactly. They don't
seriously. And it's his first garden.
Exactly.
The nerve of some people.
Yes, I agree. So this is on the basically, I'll just start here. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. That is spot on. I couldn't disagree with that at all. And then Mouse Toes made a very good one. Our gardens are not picture perfect HD TV gardens. They serve our household. There's a point, a purpose, and a reason we're doing it. We're not doing it to be on the Food Network or HD TV or anything else like that. This is what we're doing for what fits for us. It is what it is. And then, of course, I love this one. But then Wild Nature Farm made a very valid point too, right after that.
Oh yeah.
How many of the weeds are edible and yummy? That
very true.
Some people I'm assuming Kris does it just because Kris doesn't have the time, but some people are letting their weeds grow because of that reason. You know?
Well, I think she touches on a very valid point that if you are raising animal protein or livestock, that weed then becomes a food source for your animals after you're done with what you do. That again goes to feed you on that homestead. And that can be a chicken, a quail, or a goat, or a cow, or a pig, or whatever, you know.
I forgot one. Deer.
Deer?
I was going to say a horse. No.
I
Deer.
will not say a horse.
But
Deer.
Deer, yes.
Here's another thing, and I think I want you guys to get this because we're over an hour, and I didn't mean for it to go on over an hour, but this I want you guys.
An hour.
Here's the thing. I want you guys to get this because this is the point of why I'm doing this. I'm not a gardener, but I'm trying to, again, help where I can. And that comment right there makes up for it all.
Yeah.
It's worth it to me.
Yep.
Because that is the way it should be.
That is right.
Well, and every season for every person can change.
Right.
There have been seasons where I've had the perfect garden in line, doing everything. And then there's been other seasons where the weeds are 100 feet tall. And I walk through and it's like a jungle and I'm digging for zucchini. And that's okay. Both of them are correct. And that's what people have to understand. It's whatever works for you in your season as a person. Do I still
but it really goes through like with my canning. Sorry.
Well, I still get much out of my garden either way, Tony. That's the thing. And so there's no reason to not do it whatever way works for you. And your garden, Tony, is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a little grows everywhere on it. I'm loving it. It's wonderful. But it kind of goes with the thought process. It's like when I know LeAnne can relate because she does it, and I know Cassandra to some degree also can relate to this. I'm not saying you two can't, but for me at least, when I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to film for video, my content isn't based around a long 20-page list of the things I'm going to do in a specific order. 9 times out of 10, what am I cooking this week and what haven't I put on a video?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
That's how I come up with the content I'm going to create usually.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So, I mean, it just goes to what fits you, what you can do, what you can't do. Okay, so here's my next question. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say and back you up with that is for us making content is exactly like that. And like we had the one skillet meal content that we made that used green bell peppers and onions and our pork burger that we raised ourselves, in a meal and showed somebody how we are utilizing all that. And then I have another channel friend that is coming out with one that they shouted out on their live that they are actually wanting people to tell them how much come from their homestead, farmstead, apartment, whatever of the meals that they make,
I don't got time for that.
They go clear down to, their seasoning. So
Wow.
like they're experimenting with pepper grass that grows in their yard, seeing if that can be their pepper substitute. It kind of goes back to the weed thing, how many of those weeds that we consider weeds are actually edibles or we can utilize somewhere else within our household,
Okay. And that's a valid point. It really is. So, okay. So here's where I'm at with you guys. There's a few questions we didn't get to, and those questions, I actually would like you guys to come back for one more part in this segment. I will talk about scheduling that later. But it's about what can you put in those gardens? Fertilizers, other things like that. Because I'll tell you, because there's a lot of people in this community that don't use anything. And there's a lot of people that say you shouldn't use anything. But I know that there's quite a few out there that do use stuff. So to make it easy for the new gardeners, do you understand where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm. Shake your head up and down. Yes.
I'm just looking for Cassandra's
Yes.
yes or no.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Would you guys be willing to come back for one more on that of a conversation?
I love that. Yes.
Sorry, okay. I was distracted. I don't know if you caught this beautiful lady that come in here and give me a kiss.
We see her all the time.
She didn't think I was paying attention.
So what I would ask you guys is try to kind of beef up on that information for next time. If there's anything we missed that you want to throw out there as good information, please have that ready, and we'll end it on that next one. But I do appreciate you guys being here. You guys took time out of your schedule, and I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's been inside the chat, all the mods that have been in there and helping. I appreciate them. Thank you, everybody that showed up, and I think it went good. So, again, thank you. And if you guys hang around, I'll be with you in just a moment. Thanks, guys. Make sure you hit the thumbs up.
Thanks, everybody.